See, I don't know. I mean, like, why media and finance media is so much obsessed with commercial growth? To me, growth is growth. Okay, you want to understand, you want to collect the money, because if you get even collect money from government business, you can eventually get put back in your commercial business. Okay, and when you see the macro of government as of today, see, think about it like 10 years back, like when the Snowden and WikiLeaks things happened, what kind of shitstorm it created for the government. I mean, government do not want that kind of scenario, especially when they want to go into a election which is going to be as hot as the last one in the 2024. They don't want it. They really want to ensure that the data is used ethically and right people have access to it, and there is an accountability. And if there is a pattern that is in malicious in any way, can be found. So when you put these things together, on top of that, the issues you discuss, like for example, 5G is coming. Government has already said they want to deploy SpaceX Starlink in the forward locations. We are going to get more geopolitical uncertainty because energy is something which is very volatile. People don't know how much money is invested in oil and gas, when energy prices are going to high, low, when the so putting all this together, you need a very strong analytical ability, AI ability at a government level. There is no one placed better than Palantir. See, you can put 20 companies together to solve it. The challenge at the government level is money is not a concern for them. They must, the time is of value. And whenever it comes that you need solution now, Palantir is unmatched. So for example, you can put 20 companies together, they will figure it out over 6 months how to work together, how to integrate different system. Palantir has already figured it out. They can do that probably in 2 weeks' time. And a lot of people in government are actually aware of it. And when you help someone in real life, when you make their life easy, when you make them look good in front of their bosses and their stakeholders, they stick with you. So to me, the I'm extremely bullish on Palantir Gotham business, because to me, yeah, I mean there is a lot of narrative about commercial growth, and my idea is like high margin, more sticky business is actually Palantir Gotham.
Yeah.
Back to you
So
guys.
let me just share my screen with you guys real quick. Screen sharing was canceled. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Share screen. Don't show this again. Window. Chrome tab. Okay. Do you guys see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah. So these are currently the Palantir preferred partners that work within the continental United States and even sometimes outside the country, where they work directly with the government and they essentially work to help adopt different things that are out there. So the four ones that they've identified are, one is barbaricum, right? I can't even say it. Barbaricum is one of them. So literally these are like services that they provide, engineering, data, technology. They even have like a service phone number, beginner through expert level Palantir user training, right? It's in DC. Another one is Pat v Mac, the one I was talking about that they have. IMSL, Shine Systems. So if
And
you
you said
look at,
you've been seeing these guys with job descriptions, right?
yeah, yeah, all over right now. I mean,
And they're asking for engineers to be Palantir Gotham.
no, they'll actually will show you. 1 second, let's see, Palantir.
Chris, this is better work than a lot of analysts on Palantir are doing. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen any Wall Street analyst coming up with this kind of research.
The other thing also is that if you look at it, most of the jobs that are coming, they're coming from Virginia, right? Whenever you see a job opening, especially for analyst positions that are coming from Virginia, right? Do you know what's in Virginia? NSA. Well, actually, NSA is in Fort Meade, Maryland. A lot of the government organizations are literally right outside the DC metro area, within around Virginia and Maryland.
Yeah, the
Anytime you see any
DMV.
job openings around that area, you best know it's usually for government. So you can see right here: counterintelligence analyst, intelligence analyst, senior proliferation analyst, analysts, analysts. Everywhere you looking, they're just analysts, analysts, analysts everywhere, right? That's a big thing. And all I had to do was just search for Palantir, right? Look at how many positions that are just.
And these analysts, they don't need to be software engineers. They just need to know Gotham, right?
Yeah,
That's what we.
Yeah, they actually will get provided training for it. Like we could just open one up just to see, like, let's say irregular warfare analyst, right? What are the qualifications? Top secret security clearance. If you were ever in the military, you ever worked in government space, usually they would do the clearance at the time. It takes quite some time. Signal intelligence. So a lot of these are like these are jobs that usually former military would be like perfect for. But it's not necessarily that you need to have it. Let me see if there's another one that's specifically for
that one is Palantir, the one you clicked on. If you command F Palantir, I see it.
Where's that?
Go down. No. In the other.
On the description.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
On the job you're on. You'll
okay.
Yeah, keep going down right there. Yeah. If you go to the bottom, it says Palantir. Yeah, expert understanding of network analysis network analysis tools. Okay.
Analysts, and one of the things that you'll see, Analyst Notebook, that is an IBM product. And that's something that usually analysts use. Like, have you guys ever heard of I2? I2 before? I2 Analyst Notebook. This is what was pretty much the gold standard of intelligence and data gathering for pretty much the military. And it looks very similar to how Palantir stuff looks like. So you ever seen like the different webs of things, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, sorry, I'm not gonna open that up. But basically, these are what like intelligence agencies typically use to figure out different data connections between what is that thing called? Different different people. And it's, if you look at the UI, it looks like pre-2010 UI, but it was very effective back in the day. You know, Palantir's is a lot more robust and it's a lot better. Essentially, the UI is much easier to understand also. Oh, were you guys seeing that, or did I open a new tab?
No, we're still on the Indeed.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second. I2.
In the meantime, I need to share one thing. Like, I think what people miss a lot of time now, they see this analyst job, and if we are going to increase the analyst number in community by 3 times in next 5 years, these analysts will come from people like you and me. They are normal people, and what they need to become productive is they need tools that can help them to hit the ground running. I mean, if they don't need to learn softwares and programming to do things. They need to learn some basic things. And this is where the low code, no code apps like what Palantir offers on top of its strength, I think it is quite unmatched.
Yeah. So I can't look into too far into it. I don't even know how to, man, I hate my Apple MacBook Pro. I love it, but at the same time, it's hard to use because I've been a lifelong Windows guy. So, but you can see here, this is what it would look like, where you have different data connections and different databases that would link to IBM's Analyst Notebook, in which case then you could figure out like who has connections to what has connections to their different pipelines where you can that you can use to identify what is that thing called? Identify networks. So here's an example of like a cell phone, right? So this cell phone has connections to this one. But if you look at this and compare this to what you've seen in just some of the demos on Palantir, it looks like a world of difference, right?
Right.
Like look at how simple this is, right? But this is what the government uses. This is what we had before. And so, and it's just one of those things that I think right now Palantir has an opportunity to really like take a stronger role in our intelligence gathering agencies and military and everything else. And the other thing is, I think we're starting to move to a point next year where we're actually going to start integrating a lot of our allies into our other platforms.
That's the part I'm excited about, not just the U.S. government, but I mean, there's a lot of, I know we don't work with China and Russia, but there's a lot of Western governments that could be using. They have CIAs and FBIs inside of, they have DODs as well, right? That's a lot of business.
And Karp doesn't actually mince his words. He actually says it, like, you'd be surprised at how many Western European countries actually work with Palantir right now. How many terrorist plots have been thwarted because of Palantir? I mean, they can't publicly disclose them, of course, because of the because there are some sensitivities on gathering information and preventing things. But essentially, Palantir is probably going to see a lot more public spending on that front as well in the coming years. And especially the Europeans. The Europeans are very pragmatic. They're very pragmatic when it comes to civil liberties and data privacy, but also at the same time, the need to protect themselves. So I think right now, the European market is still ripe for Palantir Gotham to expand further. And so I know a lot of people, like I said, I'm just going to reiterate. I know a lot of people are looking for growth in the commercial side because that is going to be a long tail growth cycle. But I think in the shorter term, don't discount Gotham's growth either, especially with the whole China Russia thing happening right now. I think that's just supercharges their revenue opportunities going forward.
Like for example, I mean, you remember like Kathy Wood said that 87 trillion or something. She said like the number is going to be like the AI driven growth. I mean, if you see the government, I mean, she didn't in her thesis I was reading, there was no mention of the growth in the government sector. So when you see like for example, like I was working for like last year on one of the project where we were building the national energy roadmap for one of the country. Like why the roadmap will look like going from here until 2050 as the country has committed for net zero. When you the movement, I mean, it took us literally and we are very organized in terms of getting the data what we are looking up. I mean, the way the data was organized in the government sector was I think it's atrocious. And people will hide it with their lives. I mean, the things are there. So when you see, I mean, the rate at which disruption is happening, I think both in terms of government sector, defense, and in business, because see, governments are under pressure to stimulate economies now. They need to stimulate business, especially after whatever has been happened in COVID for last 2 years also. Okay, so I mean, the government sector is very desperate, and they will do anything if they need to. And these are like exactly the right situation for a company to grow in. So when it comes on Gotham part, I mean, like for example, I won't mind if Gotham is 80% of Palantir revenue. The question is because if they have revenue, they have money. I mean, if you have money, you can invest it whichever way you like.
Yeah.
And the same argument I heard in Amazon, like people said, like Amazon has a lot of his earnings came from Rivian. Yeah, I mean it's a dud and it's a drag on them, but Amazon is a company which has cash in hand. They invest it most of the time in a very reasonable way. So at least they are not losing money. So same
Right.
thing with the Palantir here is that see Shankar said that Palantir could be what AWS for developer community in the last decade. It's an statement. He has to fill the blanks by showing and by declaring a roadmap. This is what I mean by saying that. Okay, they have said it several times, both Alex Karp and Shankar, that business there is no reason business cannot be 20 times more than that what we have today. Explain, fill the blanks. How do you see it? What are you seeing? What's the roadmap look like? It's a new product. They need to fill these gaps. So they have made these statements. They are very conservative when it comes to make a statement. So there is definitely a thinking behind it, but there is a lot of information that is still missing out of it. And I believe that they need to add this information at some point of time.
Yeah. Just one thing I'm just going to share with you guys one more time. Window or Chrome tab. So here's a job opening that pretty much plays right into what we're saying. This was posted 3 days ago. This is for DIA, which is Department of this is for pretty much intelligence. Okay. Right now, you look at this entire post, and literally all it's doing is literally Palantir, Palantir, Palantir. As field service rep, blah blah blah. You're going to be training. Thing, Control F or Command F. So you can see here, Literally, you'll be on the front line assisting Palantir's implementation teams to support and strengthen unique partnership with Palantir's client base, right? And this is coming from the DIA, which is probably one of the largest things that you've ever even parts of the government you've probably even haven't even really heard of. Defense Intelligence Agency, right? Headquartered in DC, and all the other pretty much services fall under that when it comes to military intelligence. This is like literally one of the, I don't want to call it secret, but they're just not very well known in terms of like being out there. But essentially, they are what run military intelligence for all the services. And like I said, Palantir is literally on the top of a lot of the platforms that we're probably already integrated, but that are going to be further integrated into our defense planning network, right? So I think the contracts are going to get bigger, the amount of users are going to keep growing, the amount of system integrators are going to keep growing from what I can see. And I think eventually we're going to see maybe, and this is my expectation, by 2025, $5 to $6 billion of revenue come just directly from the federal government, with regards to defense spending. When you think about defense, right now we spend close to $700 billion, right, per year. And right now, Palantir is probably going to play one of the most crucial roles in developing our future strategy in terms of gathering intelligence, making decisions. $5 billion is chump change compared to the value that Palantir Gotham can probably bring insights into the government. So I think Gotham has got a long way to grow as well.